no one's in the house. Alex and Rose take the gold, and at this point, it's really not worth it to try to keep it. They can try to shove 1 or 2 coins in their pockets to sell later, but if they aren't able to kill the leprechaun, this will only piss it off more by doing the process. If it were me, I would take the bag of leprechaun coins and mix it with a small iron object I'm able to find in the house. Something like bolts, hooks, or a door knocker should do the trick. Once the leprechaun reaches down into the bag and touches the piece of iron, it will be injured or killed on contact. The gang should then take the leprechaun's body and trap it back in the box they found it, using iron and 4-leaf clovers to keep it secure. It may take them some time to find a bunch of 4-leaf clovers, so they should drive a piece of iron through its chest and try to knock it out for as long as possible. Most demons are usually kept dead by decapitating them or driving a stake through the heart, so applying the same idea, but with iron, can't hurt. The other thing is that nobody knows what exactly happens to the leprechaun if his gold is destroyed. If he wakes up and the gold is already broken down, then he won't have any gold to go out and search him. This probably isn't the best idea, because it might only make him angry, but it could also kill him, since in this world, his powers increase when he has the gold with him. Gold can't be completely destroyed, but it can be dissolved by aqua reagent, which is made by mixing hydrochloric acid and nitric acid. Since it might be difficult to get their hands on this at the moment, bleach and chlorine don't destroy gold altogether, but can cause corrosion by wearing down the gold. This will hopefully also wear down the leprechaun's powers. The group helps Nathan outside and into the truck, but it fails to start. Alex realizes the distributor cap is broken again, and carefully gets out to open the hood. Suddenly, the leprechaun pops out of the engine with the cables in his mouth. Alex rushes back into the vehicle as they close the windows, but it's not over yet. The leprechaun smashes through the windshield and continues to terrorize innocent people, managing to bite Ozzy's ear. That's when Tori takes this car cigarette lighter, jabbing the burning hot end into the creature's face, and forcing him to run away. Seconds later, he comes out of the shed with a small car, racing into the trunk and knocking it into a ditch. The creature walks over to check on the group, but finds no one in sight. Seeing how distracted the monster is, they run back into the house, while the leprechaun chases right behind them, but they slam the door brutally closed on his hand. The dismembered body part opens the door by itself, crawling out of the building and returning to the leprechaun. Meanwhile, Tori here questions what to do next. She grabs her portable phone and calls the police to inform them of their situation, but her battery dies before she can explain further. They patch Ozzy up while Nathan demands to know when the police are coming. Ozzy mentions that his leprechaun is absolutely deadly, but Tori refuses to believe the mythical creature is real. Ozzy accidentally mentions that they found gold in an old car near the house, and Alex hits him, reminding the man to keep quiet. Confused, the girl brings Alex over to ask what this is all about, and the kid admits they hid it to afford an operation for Ozzy's brain. He tells Tori that it's hidden in a water bucket at a nearby well, and the girl figures they need to give back the leprechaun its gold if they want to stop the deadly creature. Nathan attempts to help, but they insist that he's too injured. Taking the shotgun from him, Tori walks outside to find out where the treasure is hidden. The girl carefully makes her way to the well, pulling the bucket up with a lever and finding a bag of gold inside. Suddenly, the leprechaun appears and asks for his possession back. Tori gives him the bag, and the leprechaun inspects inside, confirming that this is his gold, before kissing the girl on the cheek. Disgusted, she runs back into the house and tells the others that their nightmare is over. She helps Nathan back up to his feet, but realizes that Ozzy's ear is badly wounded, asking the others to get ice. Alex walks over to the fridge, when suddenly the leprechaun reappears. He pushes the kid down but gets pulled off. The creature's hands land down to the stovetop, but it reveals the heat didn't hurt him. He then runs into the cabinet, and Tori quickly opens it, but the leprechaun appears from another cabinet, demanding the rest of his gold. The creature knows a coin is missing, and they continue to open the cabinets to find him, but he runs away down into the basement. Nathan stumbles over with his shotgun to find where the creature has run off to, when suddenly he appears from the chimney, and Nathan shoots him. Approaching the creature, the group checks to see if the monster is dead, but suddenly it stands up. The leprechaun is still alive and runs away to another room, and then appears behind Nathan, walking across the hall, and he tries to shoot him but misses every shot. They walk back into the kitchen and listen to the floorboards. The leprechaun then bursts out of the floor, and Nathan manages to shoot it, knocking it away. The phone rings and Tori answers it, but the leprechaun picks up to demand his gold back. That's when Ozzy realizes the creature wants the final gold coin he's swallowed. He suggests they ask the house's old owner how to deal with it, recalling that Dan O'Grady would tell stories about fairies and leprechauns. Nathan remembers that he's been placed into a care home after suffering from a stroke 10 years ago. Tori insists they leave now, and the group cautiously moves outside, but that's when they're attacked again by the leprechaun. Acting quickly, the group throws shoes for the creature to shine to distract him, while Tori here drives off alone. Okay, the gang is finally starting to realize that bullets are not going to kill this thing all by themselves. They claim they shot the leprechaun multiple times, and he's still up and running. In fact, the leprechaun has only grown stronger and has gained more skills now that he has 99 of his 100 gold coins. They should have tried to give him all of his coins, or none at all. But Tori had no idea that Ozzy had swallowed the 100th coin. These people are screwed unless they think fast, and it's only a matter of time before the leprechaun realizes he needs to kill Ozzy to get his final coin. Tori's on the way to figure out what will kill the leprechaun once and for all, but while she's away, the rest of the gang should rifle through Mr. O'Grady's boxes to see if they can find any Irish protection symbols to safeguard the house. By now, they should have attempted to kill the leprechaun using iron or four-leaf clovers, but since they put themselves in such a terrible position, they have to also think of ways to play defense against the very fairy. They're backed up into a corner, and they need to keep themselves from dying before they can try to kill the little guy again. Right now, the leprechaun is outside, and all of Mr. O'Grady's items are silenced. This gives them an opportunity to take down the stump while the leprechaun is distracted by Tori trying to find Mr. O'Grady with him. Mr. O'Grady was able to take one of the leprechauns and try to kill him, which means that it's possible to use the leprechaun to kill the little guy. And of course, you have to the house to kill him. We already know he had just been looked at the time that he quit his stroke. There is a very small cabin that is no it's been for several years. And as many of these cases, one of those is the ship, which is used for safety. Irish families often have kids and dogs, so the crazy stuff in the house. And if the O'Grady's absolutely stinging, and the leprechaun can't safeguard his bosses and other broken symbols that were sent to him by fire. That means Mr. O'Grady's technically sitting in a wheelchair staring out of the window. She confesses that the leprechaun is real and needs help from the disabled man. He reveals that there's only one method of killing the creature, when suddenly he turns around to reveal that she's talking to the leprechaun himself. Terrified, Tori storms out of the wellness center, being chased by him through the hallways. As she runs over into this elevator, Tori manages to close it before the creature can follow, when suddenly the blood-soaked Dan O'Grady hangs from the ceiling. He informs the girl that she needs to touch the leprechaun with a four-leaf clover that is growing next to the water well. Only then will she be able to kill the creature, and the man dies from his injuries. That instantly goes down with fire. The girl starts to run out while the leprechaun fights. Tori runs all her life as she's followed by the leprechaun. And inside from her belly, Tori runs down to death, and the leprechaun suddenly appears right out of her. She has much of a choice on, but the creature pulls down and tears out her body. Horrified, Tori begs him as the leprechaun rips out the car's eye and places it in the place. That's when David shoots him, and they see him Tori. He tells the others that he will and go back to the house while Alex sets up a trap to kill the leprechaun. Outside, Tori loses so many limbs on her Ozzy for police. Like suddenly, she begins to find a four-leaf clover. Alex walks over to the subscribe. Check out the How to Be playlist for more videos like this. And don't forget that from now on, we'll be uploading Wednesdays and Saturdays. Until next time, have a good day.
Monsters had you trapped inside a roadside honky-tonk out in the middle of nowhere, what would you do? They're fast, nasty, man, were they hungry. And here we are looking like an all-you-can-eat buffet, with mediocre weaponry, minimal shelter, and no way to call for help. Our only choice is to put these freak shows down before they tear this place apart. Of course, that's far easier said than done, especially with a random pack of losers that hang out in this dive. Let's just hope these folks are smarter than they look. Break down the mistakes made. What you're gonna do is how to beat the man-eaters in weeds. Tommy's doing the best she can. As a single mom working a dead-end job out at PFE, her prospects are quite bright. But between full-time waitressing and slowly carrying out the odd occasional favors for her boss, she somehow managed to eke out an existence for herself and her son. Besides, it's not like everyone else around here is doing that much better. In just a few minutes, none of that is going to matter. For now, it's just another ordinary night of quiet desperation at the Bear Tavern. That is, until a blood-splattered man with a Model 870 walks in and demands their attention, however. This isn't your typical everybody's thinking love type situation. The new guys are hoping to start recording, as well as the severed head of something ugly. Which one is? What did the rest of it look like? They got claws like insects, or teeth and a chainsaw. And apparently, including eyeballs. What kind of moron puts his back to an uncovered window after killing everyone and there's creatures outside? Probably the same kind of moron that would walk into a country park with a weapon in his hands and say something tantamount to, do as I say if you want to live. He's lucky the old bartender didn't hurt him with the side-by-side right off the bat. Not lucky enough to keep his head, though. Well, that's fine, because here comes the moron's wife to pick up where he left off. The good news is she seems to have a bit more going on upstairs than her other half. Using the pump action to jam the front doors before the beasties could barge in was some quick thinking, except it cost us a significant portion of her available firepower. So I'd start looking for a suitable replacement as soon as it was in place. Where she loses me, however, is her decision to lift up one of the tables and hold it against the broken window as if it'll just suction in place. What, are you planning to stand there holding it up forever? Not to mention the fact that we have no idea how strong they might be, which is why Army Dude ends up taking a monster hand straight through his chest cavity. Should have simply closed the perfectly serviceable wooden shutter over it like they're gonna do 2 minutes from now. Instead, the window's still wide open, and we just lost another one of our most capable fighters and yet another act of profound carelessness. And that's the least of our problems. Team Freak just heaped one of their offspring in through another window. And believe me when I tell you this goblin was born to clap. I mean, just look at this little... Is it gone? Good thing it took a liking to Bambi. This would have been a short. Seriously, how do you even fight something like that? It's the size of a raccoon. On the carpet at the slice of not to mention at insane speed. I think it's safe to say at least one of us is going down no matter what in that scenario. And that's if we're lucky. No matter what we're not, I'm in to flee that portion of the farm and go out somewhere else, like the basement, at which point we might be able to take it out if it tries breaking through the door. and thoroughly coat 30 Rock with a double dose of pea soup. Evidently, young Cody didn't agree with it, although something tells me that little buckshot sandwich would have given it a lot more than a stomachache. Yet another reason we should have liberated the 870 from its life is a doorstop. It got it back in the fight. A second shooter might have made all the difference in this scenario, especially one capable of sustaining a greater volume of fire. Meanwhile, the monster was almost completely stationary while blowing chunks, so how hard would it have been to Robocop the sucker? Now, in addition to losing a halfling and leaving his mom traumatized, we've given up partial control over the second floor. This gives the monsters a proverbial beachhead they can use to assault the rest of the bar. We've already seen them punch through a wooden table like it was cardboard, so what's stopping them from doing the same to a single interior door we're betting the house on right now? Instead, we should have kept a few firearms trained on the breach while some of our more gullible teammates sealed it off. There seems to be a surplus of boards we can use for this, but given the size of the opening, I'd start by nailing up one of the unused doors before piling on a few extra planks and whatever furniture we can find. We should take the same approach with the rest of the upstairs windows. However, with our limited manpower, we can't be everywhere at once. In that case, I say we get the main floor locked down first, since it's the easiest for them to attack. Afterwards, we'll finish clearing and reinforcing the upstairs as a group, and then head down to the basement to wrap things up. Obviously, we can get this done faster by breaking off into teams, but that would also mean splitting up our already minimal firepower, and since we still don't know what it takes to kill one of these things, I'd much rather throw the kitchen sink at them than risk leaving it up to the bartender again. Another problem with only barricading the first floor like they do is that we don't have anywhere to fall back to if the monsters get in. If nothing else, I'd want to at least have the basement set up since it has the fewest points of entry. Of course, then we'd be fighting in a basement, and they could still probably tear their way in through the floorboards, but it at least gives us some semblance of a second chance if things go sideways. At this point, you're probably wondering why I haven't suggested they try calling for help. Well, in true horror movie fashion, the local terrain is blocking all cell reception. As for landlines, their only phone caught a strain back when all hell broke loose, meaning we're stuck here until we either kill them all or someone else rolls through without immediately getting torn to shreds. I mean, I guess it's possible they might leave on their own, but I highly doubt that's gonna happen, especially while we still have one of their broodlings bouncing around the chest freezer. Speaking of which, the tribe has spoken, and now it's time for Mini-Me to shuffle off for good. Only, it doesn't look like the Boss Man's single-action army has enough punch to get the job done. Guess it's time to upgrade. Well, that's one down at least, and all it took was 2 shotgun shells and 6 rounds of 45 long Colts. Oh, yeah, and as 30 Rock is quick to point out, that's one of the little ones. Sure, it's hard to say how many shots actually landed blasting through the freezer like that, but still, God knows what it's gonna take to put its parents in the dirt. The only reason we know they can even be killed in the first place is because Hero Chick and her husband nailed that one with her car, and I'm not seeing any freeways running through here. Whatever the case, we're really gonna have to make our shots count, and only fire when we have a clear line of sight on potentially more vulnerable areas, like the eyes and mouth. Not only to have a chance at maybe bringing one down, but also for the sake of conserving ammunition, which is in extremely short supply here. But what if we don't have to fight them at all? No, that's actually a serious question, posed by a resident motivational speaker known simply as Coach. The way he sees it, we just need to assert ourselves as the dominant species by putting the box troll's carcass on a stick and waving it around through a window for them to see. I have just 3 problems with that line of thinking. Number 1, it involves opening the freezer, and given what we know the little demon's capable of, there's no way I'm doing that while it might be playing possum. Second, it involves removing one of the planks covering that window, and there is no way I'm doing that when they could very well chuck another baby at us. And third, Hero Dude showed up carrying one of their noggins, and they not only chased him here, but also ripped his head off. take that thing out at all, it's to cut it open and see what makes them tick. But because no one here apparently has the brain power to see how this could immediately backfire, they actually agree to do it. So, let's see how it goes.
Hey, it's working. You're a genius. See what I tell you?
Yeah, they seem totally devastated. We basically just gave them extra protein, but wait, it gets even worse. After an embarrassingly brief monster mash, Mama Beast pops out an egg sac, from which 2 more of the freaks emerge. And by the looks of it, they're already looking to scrap. Awesome. They're like the Shriekers from Tremors, except actually terrifying. And since they managed to drag off Hero's body at the very beginning, there's probably a couple more running around somewhere that we haven't seen yet. Well, this just keeps getting better and better, but we're not completely hosed just yet. Turns out Boss Man has a working shortwave radio we can use to call for help. All we have to do is go look for it in the upstairs bedroom. You know, the one we completely gave up on without a fight. Yeah, it's pretty much a one-way trip for whoever gets volunteered to go up there. That is, unless we go in prepared and approach the task like our lives depend on it, which they probably do. I mean, think about it. The monsters are growing in numbers, and it's reached a point where we can't even look outside without getting our eyes ripped out. Although, yeah, probably a dumb idea to do that in the first place. Still, we'd have to be insane to think that they're gonna give up. And the way they keep probing the bar for weaknesses, it's only a matter of time before they find a way inside. Right now, our best chance of making it out alive is pulling it into the serious bag up. Nothing else. If we find something else to chew on, review. In that case, I'm glad to the house on this one. Get setting in a sacrifice plan. Maybe get a single message out. Otherwise, it's up an entree. We need to arm every able-bodied person and have them find the modern place. Ideally, we'll monitor the radio back downstairs, so we can spend as much time as possible trying to reach someone. But if it can't be moved, we'll have to secure the area to the best of our ability and transmit for as long as we can. The big ones might be tough. Facts remain, we are able to drive one off by shooting out, and are at least somewhat capable of carrying our own lives. If anything, I'm far more concerned about running into more incidents. Probably a good idea to bring some extra materials we can use to seal off the window. Instead, we'll bring some we can use it immediately while being alive. Meanwhile, half of us are back downstairs doing literally nothing. With the very least, we try to make as much noise as possible to draw attention away from that side of the bar. Instead, by some miracle, not only does the running man make it to the radio, he even manages to stamp around their location and ask for help to abort as he goes into oblivion by one of the monsters. Just about 1,000 times farther than I've ever thought he'd actually get. All that's left to do now is GTFO. That sucks. Nice knowing you. I suppose now the incident to do would be to put our backs on the double on appetizer, porridge, lights off, and sit about that walking up to the tubes back in the closet. We've only got one change. In that case, I'd call him the monster who's basically right on top of me. Those two as it turns out, Hero Lady can make a jammed clock using nothing but plot convenience in a single hearing. Just in time to split up off the beastie's face. In case you're wondering how I know it's a veil, it gets a certain piece of his anatomy caught in the frame. It's got a little shame. Second color. Might not have killed him, but he's probably wishing he had right about now. Nicholas hasn't seen that this was actually a huge win for us. We've just proven that the adults can see individual feeds. At least one specific part of them anyway. Plus, we cut down their reproductive abilities. Plus, we eliminated them outright. If that was the only deal, of course, as you can probably imagine, Team Monster is extra about this. Now, instead of something a bit more breakthrough defenses, they're acting to carry away. Given the extreme brevity of our SOS call, that's probably the reality is, we have no way of knowing whether the rest of the world isn't up to its neck in these things as well. Although, you think it does need a rule like this to at least have an AM radio typing some of that nonsense. Regardless, balls rattling, all around us, holding up. That doesn't even include the potential secondary explosion if the attached gas station cooks off. All we have to do is make sure the monsters are inside the blast radius when that happens. Fortunately, they're all just dying to get inside, so I say we give them exactly what they want. First things first, it's going to take a long time for the gas to build up, so we should break the lines now to ensure we get the desired results. Meanwhile, I'd start looking for any sheets or tarps we can use to seal off the windows. Plastic would be best, but it doesn't have to be perfectly airtight. We just want to obstruct the airflow as much as possible and trap in as much gas as we can. Once that's done, we need to think trigger mechanisms. The biggest issue is the fact that we'll want to clock this mess off from far enough away to keep from getting barbecued ourselves. That is, unless any of our less mobile group members wants to be a hero. Looking at you, 30 Rock. Then again, the dude doesn't seem all there right now, so it's probably best we go with some kind of timed detonation. In that case, our options are fairly limited. The simplest choice would be to shove some newspapers in a toaster and surround it with flammable materials. There's no telling how long it'll take to ignite, but my best guess is pretty quick, so we'll want to hold off until we know the monsters are inside. As for how we let them in without getting munched on, I'd rig the pipe blocking the main doors up to a rope or extension cord and move everyone downstairs. When everything's ready, we'll unbar the door and lock ourselves in the basement, where we should be able to hear them coming in. Of course, we won't actually be able to tell when they're all accounted for, so we'll just have to wait until it sounds like a party up there and then fire up the toaster, at which point it's just a matter of bailing out through the loading doors and running for our lives. Naturally, with a plan as batch crazy as this one, redundancy is extremely important, so we should whip up a batch of Molotov cocktails we can lob at the bar's exterior in the event the trigger toaster fails to ignite. It also couldn't hurt to soak the interior down with as much high-proof alcohol as we can find beforehand to amplify the effects. Fact is, explosions can be kind of finicky. It takes a certain mixture of natural gas and oxygen to get the best results, so turning the place into a giant tinderbox gives us a plan B in case our gaslighting attempt ends with a whimper. Getting back to our plucky band of survivors, they opt for the explosive route as well, but on a much smaller scale. Instead of blowing up the entire bar, they decide to rig up the body of the late biker babe with an oversized hairspray bomb. The plan is to drop her out the upstairs window and let the monsters swarm her, at which point they'll detonate the charges by plugging in the attached extension cord. The resulting explosion itself won't be enough to kill them all, but the thought is that it will keep them distracted long enough for the hero chick and coach to sneak over to Boss Man's pickup. However, this is where the wheels totally fall off. Not only are they banking on their ability to cross open ground without being promptly torn to shreds, they're planning on bringing the truck back to the farm to load up everybody else. And there's just no way that's gonna happen. Best case scenario, they make it to the vehicle and drive off to bring back help. But unless we're expecting the blast to render every single one of the creatures totally deaf, it's wildly unrealistic that they will be able to cram 8 additional passengers into a 2-door pickup without getting eaten alive. I'm not saying we bag the whole thing, but we need to stay focused on what's most likely to succeed, given we're potentially throwing away the lives of 4 people on this op. Actually, make that 5.
Holy, she's alive.
Oof, that really sucks for her, especially if you've seen the unrated version. My God. Oh, well, there'll be time for counseling later, maybe. For now, we just need to hope her sacrifice wasn't in vain. And spoiler alert, it totally was. Yeah, we wiped out 2 of the little ones, but it'll be awfully hard for our runners to sneak over to the truck when one of them immediately starts firing a shotgun up in the air. What exactly was the point of all that if Hero Chick was planning to lure them away from Coach herself? Now they know at least one of us is outside, which is only going to distract them from the distraction. And of course, with everything having gone to she wants back inside. But wouldn't you know it, we went and sealed off all the entrances for some reason. I wonder why that is. Surely it couldn't be because there's horrible monsters out there that'll rip us all to pieces if they make it inside. It's like everyone but Miltman seems to have completely forgotten about that. Seriously, how is it that the dude whose brains are basically mush is the only one who's making sense right now? Besides, I thought she was supposed to be the hero. Maybe instead of expecting everyone else to cut their own throats to try and save her, she should just go back in through the basement window. You know, the one that's still wide open because nobody was there to lock it behind remember that for later. Oh, and what's going on upstairs, you might ask? Well, Bozo and Boss Man decided that right here, beside the massive gaping hole in the wall, is where they need to hash out the whole "we let what's-her-name die" thing, which is really making it difficult for them to see what's coming their way.
They got a chance without them.
Nice one, Bozo. Do the words target identification mean anything to you? Nah, I can totally see how someone might confuse the petite woman for a hulking abomination draped in cowhides. Jokes aside, she did climb up to their position without saying so much as a single word. So, in a way, her death could actually be considered a team effort. Actually, you know what? She might still be alive down there. Oh, never mind. Okay, things aren't looking great right now, and it seems everyone else would agree. Still, we didn't see Coach go down, so there's still a chance he was able to make it to the truck. I wouldn't bet my life on it, though. However, apart from luring them in from the fire trap play I mentioned earlier, I gotta admit, I'm running out of ideas. At this point, it might not be a bad idea to grab a few bottles and lay low in the walk-in freezer like Grandma's doing right now. As long as we stay out of sight, there's a chance they might think we got out somehow. I mean, it's an extremely small chance, but it beats making a run for it, and evidently, that's exactly what the boss man's thinking. The way he sees it, help is surely on the way. So while everyone else is busy getting themselves killed and trying to pile into the getaway truck, he'll just lay there like a dead cat and avoid the aggro. There's just one problem with this strategy.
They won't even notice me. They like food that moves.
Yeah, looks like they aren't picky eaters. Remember what I said about the basement's window being left open? Really should have put someone on that, especially since all anyone can think to do in this situation is just stand around screaming at the floor. Not to mention the fact that we now have a literal pitfall just waiting for someone to fall through while we're fighting off the rest. And that's going to be going down sooner rather than later, because it seems they just found themselves a battering ram. Oh, shit! I guess he didn't make it after all. Well, time for plan B. We gather up all the weapons and ammunition we have and get ready for a fight to the death. Sadly, it isn't all that much. Boss Man's revolver might have a few rounds left in it, but any extra ammo was probably in his pockets when he got pulled through the floor. Biker Babe's 1911 might have a couple as well, but since no one bothered patting her down for a spare mag, we're stuck with whatever she did way in the beginning. As for shotgun shells, who knows whether there's any more besides the two already in the gun. Still, it's all better than nothing. While there's still time, we should head into the kitchen and start boiling pots of water and oil we can douse them with medieval style, particularly the one down in the basement. It would also be worth rounding up all the knives we can find and fastening them to the broom and mop handles to extend their reach as much as possible. Looks like Tuffy already thought ahead on this, but we'll need a few more to keep everyone in the fight once the ammo dries up. As for the Molotov cocktails Hot Wheels put together, we should appoint a couple throwers and position them behind the bar. We'll have a clear view of the front door when it comes down. Obviously, we don't want to use them when the monsters are already inside, so our only chance is to try and tag them at the threshold. However, for some reason, the bartender thinks this is a perfect job for 30 Rock. And, I mean, come on, man, look at it. Like, I know it's all hands on deck right now, but maybe he'd be better off with something a little simpler, you know, like a decoy. Seriously, dude's just gonna burn this place down all around us. Finally, and this one's pretty random, we sort of have a bear trap we can set up. It's not anchored to anything, but it take a grown man's leg off in the knee, so we might as well see how it works on these things. I'd set that up in the front of the door, but far enough back to be out of the way when they swing open. If we're lucky, that battering ram action will keep them from slowing down in time to avoid it. But of course, the Dream Team has a plan B of their own. Although, since Bozo cooked it up, you know it's probably going nowhere. Wow, that was super effective. But you know what might have been slightly more disruptive? Shooting it twice square in the chest from 10 feet away. Seriously, it was a sitting duck. In fact, we should have had everyone lined up with guns and Molotovs and let them have it the second we opened the door. All that Donkey Kong bullshit accomplished was soaking up two perfectly good shells without doing jack to help our situation, or so it seems. Turns out, the real purpose of that sideshow was to smuggle honey pie deep behind enemy lines inside one of the barrels, the old Trojan keg. And just like with Team USA, the ruse totally works, giving the sacrificial waitress just enough of a head start to reach 30 Rock's beer truck and totally leave everyone else behind. Ah, man, out of the cab and pull her apart like a Barbie doll. At least now we know someone will be able to send help, provided there's still help to be sent, that is. Unfortunately, it will almost certainly be coming too late, because here comes the face reveal. Well, that's horrifying. Wait, why is there only one of them? It turns out there were only 3 adults this whole time, and for some reason, they decided to split themselves up between each floor instead of concentrating their monster power in absolutely annihilating everyone in like 10 seconds. So, yeah, that was pretty nice of it. Now, we might actually have a fighting chance. I mean, how else could this happen?
Not a good time to lose one's head.
Indeed, and with Tuffy pinning the other one's arm to the ceiling, the rest of us are free to dogpile the leader. I mean, sure, 30 Rock got his melon split, but, you know, who cares? For the first time since this nightmare began, we actually have the upper hand. All that's left to do now is administer the coup de grace. There's just one problem. The double-barreled shotgun is, in fact, a double-barreled shotgun. You forgot to reload, you idiot. No wonder your son died. Don't tell me we're about to fumble it on the goal line here. This is why we shouldn't have wasted precious resources acting out the plot of an NES game. Now bartenders pouring Shirley Temples and Bozo's like 3 seconds away from doing something stupid. I can feel it. However, luckily for everyone involved, he won't get the chance, because it turns out this boomstick kills at both ends. Bon appetit. And with that, the last remaining survivors, Tuffy, Bozo, and Hot Wheels, are finally free to close out their tasks once and for all, provided they can keep the engine running. Actually, hang on, I forgot about Grandma. I guess hiding in the freezer was a legit move after all. Or maybe not. In the end, only a handful of our heroes made it out alive. And while we definitely couldn't have saved everyone, some pretty basic things like not standing with your back directly against a window or not firing wildly into the air during a sneaking mission could have kept a few more in the fight until the very end. Furthermore, had they made more of an effort to secure the entire bar from the very beginning, there's a good chance they could have used the shortwave radio long enough to bring in help, which may or may not have solved the issue outright, but it definitely could not have hurt. For these reasons, I think Feast was weak. Moral of the story, don't play with your food.
This is Jupiter. I'm mistreated in my cheeks right here. I can see the difference. I feel like I look younger. Nothing was overdone. Just these little subtle changes. They made a really nice difference. Learn more at Jupiter.com. For more important safety information and to find a licensed specialist, visit Jupiter.com.